Alright guys, in Leviticus 19 today, we finished up in 18 where Moses is basically being told from God that you're going to be going into the land of Canaan, but that you're not to adopt any of their ways. And then he goes on to outline in the rest of the chapter, brothers shouldn't be sleeping with sisters, mothers shouldn't be sleeping with sons, men shouldn't lie with men, females shouldn't lie with females, things like this. And he basically says, look, these are the types of things that are going on in Canaan. You're going to be going into Canaan, but that doesn't mean that you're to live like the Canaanites. You're to be living separate. And we talked about that yesterday. But in Leviticus 19, he goes on and he's continuing to outline kind of some social provisions. Don't strip the field bare whenever you're reaping the harvest and stuff. You want to leave some for the poor and for strangers who might be passing through. So these are just kind of basic concepts that unfortunately we have gotten rid of in our society, but they were being told that this is how they're to conduct themselves. So then you get to verse 14, and this is really kind of common sense, but if you read this verse slowly and really think about what it's saying, it's a lot more profound. So he says, thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but shalt fear thy God. I am the Lord. Now, he says, thou shalt not curse the deaf. All right, well, the deaf can't hear, so whatever I'm cursing them, it doesn't really bother them. They don't know. Nor put a stumbling block before the blind. Well, the blind can't see that I just, kicked a chair in their way. They might suffer the repercussions from it, but it's not like it's something that reflects bad on me personally, because they didn't see that I did it. But he tells them, don't do these things. And basically what he's saying here is, he goes on to tell them, fear the Lord thy God, or, fear God, I am the Lord. And he's telling them to conduct yourselves with other people in a manner in which, or from the perspective rather, that God is always watching. Regardless of what men see or can pin on you, or whether you're caught or whether you're not, we are to conduct ourselves as if the Lord is watching. We are to fear the Lord, not the deaf who can't hear what we say, or the blind who can't see what we do. We're to conduct ourselves in such a manner that we're always being listened to by God, and that we're always being seen by God. And something, I don't really want to get too political or whatever, but this is the first thing that came to mind when I read this was a quote from John Adams, who said, our Constitution was made for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. And that's really true. As our nation starts to drift away from God, we're seeing more and more lawlessness, more and more of this this pervasive attitude where, as long as I'm not caught, it's okay. But our Constitution was really not set up to hedge in a people that are not capable of self-governance. The self-governance that we had in our founding days were such that people understood that there was a God, and that their actions were being watched by God, and that they would be held accountable for those actions. And as such, people conducted themselves with a sort of a basic level of morality. And then the Constitution picked up where that left off, and basically was like an addendum to the biblical perspective of morality, and just said, okay, these are some additional things that the government is going to do in addition to those things outlined in the Bible. And we've gotten away from that, because as we've abandoned our basic level of morality, we're seeing more and more that our Constitution is just not capable of hedging in these social justice, protester types and stuff like that. It's just everybody doing what's right in their own mind, and it's just relativism gone amok. So it was something that really kind of stood out, in that verse 14, that we're to conduct ourselves as if we're being watched by the Lord, because we are. And it doesn't matter what people see or don't see about our behavior or actions, or whether we're caught or we're not caught. We will be held accountable for our actions. So um, that was something that I wanted to share. It was something that just kind of stood out to me, and I started thinking about. All right, God bless.